does it take to protect nature? Not in theory, but in practice, on the ground, in real places. It needs spaces where nature, finance and people are met. And today we are going to one of them. Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of the BIOFIN-EU podcast series. I am Alexia Mastora, Communications Manager at Reino, and today I have the pleasure of hosting John Garvey, Professor at the University of Limerick and also Coordinator of the BIOFIN-EU project. Hello John, thank you.
Alexia.
Thank you so much for being here with us. John, before we get into the project itself, I believe that most of our listeners had never heard before the word Blankesbok.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through that, please?
Yes, I suppose a particularly Irish type of landscape where you've got huge levels of rainfall over undulating ground, and you don't have much evaporation from the ground. Peat forms in layers, and this bog, I suppose, is hugely important in terms of its capacity to sequester and retain carbon dioxide. So it's seen as a hugely important landscape to protect.
That's a great place to start. Wild Atlantic Nature works with farmers, local communities and land owners across special areas of conservation. Why are these peatlands so crucial from an ecological aspect and also for the communities that they live around them?
Yeah, over many centuries people have been harvesting these peat and using it as fuel for their homes, to heat their homes and cooking and so on. And that tradition is really important, culturally important to this part of Ireland. And the landscapes are they're also homes to several species that are quite rare. So there's a balance needed there in terms of, I suppose, educating local communities about the importance of these areas of conservation and getting them on board to understand how best to protect these areas. And that's where Wild Atlantic Nature come in. They're an EU-funded LIFE project, and a large part of their work is in education and in designing ways to incentivize landowners to better protect these areas.
For decades, restoring nature has been seen as a cost. Can a project like Wild Atlantic Nature really show that it is also a smart investment?
Yeah, I think the way in which Wild Atlantic Nature work and how they have a deep understanding of local communities and they bring them on board to understand and protect and restore the landscapes that they live in, I think it's hugely important. So governments have significant targets around climate emissions and also have targets around nature restoration. And what Wild Atlantic Nature do is they show how public funds can be used in the best way. So for example, they promote the improvements, let's say, in insulation in homes in rural communities. Mm-hmm. And that puts less pressure on these blanket bogs because less fuel has to be harvested. They recruit young local people to remove invasive species, creating new jobs and creating new interactions across households in these local communities. So they're doing a huge amount that's beneficial for national targets, and they're doing it in a really cost-effective and innovative way. And I think, these LIFE projects, the way they're set up, we can learn so much from them. And, in the ideal situation, what we learn from these pilot projects and LIFE projects can be broadened out and used nationally, and other countries within the European Union can learn from these as well. And that's part of what we're trying to do within BIOFIN, trying to figure out, what set of actions that is being done within Wild Atlantic Nature and some of our other learning sites, how we can learn from those and bring that into everything from agriculture lending to thinking about how governments can raise finance and deploy finance efficiently through these types of mechanisms.
That's really promising, John. in that years that the Wild Atlantic Nature has been running. Is there a moment, a place, a farmer that surprised you the most?
I think there isn't a specific instance, but I think, you know, what I've learned from the two guys that are running it, Derek and Gary, is I suppose their ability to innovate and to think through a problem and how best to resolve that problem. So that example I gave, so they were part of the work that they were doing is removal of invasive species. And I thought what was really interesting is that they were able to identify young local guys that had the machinery and equipment. They could be trained up to remove invasive species, and they could travel around to all these different farms, interact with the local farmer, who might be an elderly gentleman, which is often the case in the west of Ireland, and undertake this work in a way that was, you know, building community and was really positive for everybody involved.
Thank you for sharing this beautiful image, John, and of course thank you for being here with us and taking us to the Blankensbog Ireland landscape.
You're welcome. Thanks, Alexia.
And also a heartfelt thank to all of our listeners. For more BIOFIN-EU news, don't forget to visit our website and find us on social media. Until the next Learning Side episode, thank you very much for listening.
BIOFIN-EU